Good morning and welcome to the Paul Green Comedy Podcast. It is March 22nd, 2024. This would be episode 114. This is a podcast by a dreamer for dreamers. I am a stand-up comedian, actor, and improviser, going for big dreams and documenting the journey as it happens in real time. So, let's see. How did yesterday go? Not great. That's the thing. That's why I wanted to do this podcast, because it seems like so many podcasts are, especially sort of in the self-helpy type thing. Everything is always so great, and they just kind of brush over the hardships. Like, oh, it's really hard there, but no, I'm a millionaire. Well, I'm not at I'm a millionaire phase yet. So yesterday I really wanted to figure out what was going on with, I have a whole bunch of new material that I'm working on, and I can just not seem to get it dialed in to the point to where audiences laugh at it. Which, as a stand-up comedian, that's kind of the point, is to elicit laughter when you say things through a microphone. And I had an opportunity last night to do an open mic, and there was a crowd there. So one of the comedy clubs that I perform at regularly, they do an open mic on Thursday nights. And the owner knows me well, so he is gracious enough to let me go up. And he'll usually let me go up first, and they have usually just finished their Thursday night 7 p.m. show. So he will roll right into the open mic so that the audience from the 7 o'clock show is still there, and he'll literally end the show and then go, and we're going to go right into our open mic, so you can stick around. Our next comedian is Paul Green, and he brings me up. Now, some people leave because the show that they paid to see is already over and they want to get home. So probably, 8, 10 people were getting up and leaving as I was going on stage. But that's not a big deal. I just kind of made a joke about it. But a lot of people stayed. And so anyway, I spent about 3 or 4 hours before the open mic really trying to dial in this material. And I made a bunch of rewrites. I tried, rework some punchlines. I found some new tags. I tried changing some things to just, I'm just giving it my best guess as to why the material that I think is funny is not landing with audiences who, to date, have not agreed with my hypothesis of what I think is funny. Which happens all the time as a comic, but for some reason, this next batch of material, I just can't seem to find it. And I tried the premises enough. I mean, usually, if you're on the right track, at least, because you get some sort of energy. And I've been getting a little bit of that to where I'm like, okay, I think the audience is with me, at least on the premise that I'm going for. But I am really struggling to find what the actual punchlines are. And I feel like when I am getting laughs, how do I word this? It's like I'm getting I'm getting laughs because what I have said so far hasn't been funny, and so the audience is a little desperate for a laugh. And so once I say anything that they actually can laugh out, they do. So I feel like it's more, even when I am getting laughs, it doesn't feel like genuine. It kind of feels almost kitty laugh-esque. Now, I could totally be in my head about this, but I don't think I am, because I know the difference. I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm just, yeah, it's frustrating. I don't know. I thought that I would have at least got it a little bit more dialed in, this new batch of material. And the other thing is I'm trying a lot of new stuff all at once, which you're not really supposed to do. Most people will tell you, like, hey, you know, work in like 2 minutes of new stuff and sort of sandwich it in between stuff that works. And I don't know. I just don't have time for that. If I was getting, you know, multiple shows a night, if I could walk into any club and get 10 or 15 minutes every single night, then I might have time to just slowly work in new stuff. But I really am trying to get another good 15 or 20 minutes of new material ironed out. And so, I mean, I'm just kind of going all in. So I did 4 shows and an open mic over the weekend. So 5 shows over the weekend. And I tried all brand new material in every one of those shows and the open mic. And, you know, I mean, it's not like I was bombing per se. I mean, there's a big difference between not killing and bombing. And I was just sort of in the middle. It was like some things weren't landing. And if it didn't land, maybe the next thing would land a little bit more. But I never, again, really got into that pocket to where, like, cool, this is now, like, I feel comfortable that this bit or this premise is on the right track. It's like every premise I tried was almost like, I'm not even in the arena right now. On, like, multiple bits. And multiple premises. So it's not fun. I am not having a good time. Trying to wade through this latest leg on my comedy journey, and it's just frustrating that I can't seem to figure it out. It's I recorded all 4 shows that I did over the weekend, and I watched every single one of them. I was really trying to pay attention to seeing, like, okay, well, why didn't that land? What was I missing there? How can I say that differently? You know, and the challenge with comedy is it's so hard to actually get effective feedback beyond an audience not laughing, because, you know, it's like, what am I supposed to do? Email the audience, hey, you know, when I said that joke about, the fact that my life is, or, you know, that I'm dating women who are recently divorced or whatever it is, how come you didn't laugh at that? Most of the time, the audience doesn't even know they didn't laugh. They just know they didn't laugh. Now, they could try to analyze, oh, well, you know, I was offended, or I didn't quite get it, or anything like that. But yeah, I know you didn't get it. Or if you did get it, you just didn't think it was funny. But comedy is, it's not a logical thing. It's an emotional thing. It's like everything in life. It's emotional. It's like falling in love. Well, why do you love this person? You can maybe articulate it, but at the end of the day, it's just because you feel it. Oh, well, how come you didn't like this person? Didn't feel it. Now maybe you can go like, oh, well, I didn't like them because they were loud, or they, dressed funny, or whatever. I mean, there are, logical things, but at the same time, you can like people and you have no idea why. It's just like, oh, because I feel it. So anyway, even if you do get feedback from an audience member, which every once in a while, if there's like an audience member who like you actually have communication with or whatever, who might be like, oh yeah, there was something about that, or I didn't get, and this is why, or, I just kind of found that offensive, and this is why I found it offensive. And I have received feedback similar to that throughout the years. And sometimes it actually is valuable, especially if it's something to where it's kind of a blind spot to where I'm going, oh, I didn't realize that saying it that way would come across as offensive to like a certain demographic of people or whatever, Now we could get into the debate of, is it my job to not offend anybody because people are going to take offense or not take offense? And yeah, I mean, we could go on with that debate, but there's something about, is what I'm communicating, is it being received the way that I intend it to be received? And sometimes comics are intending to be offensive to a certain type of people, intentionally to create an emotional response. And so in that case, it'd be like, oh yeah, it was meant to be offensive. But there's also times where it's like, oh no, I wasn't actually intending to be insulting to a certain group of people or whatever. So then you can go like, oh, well, is there another way I can word this to where, I'm not actually speaking in a manner that certain people might intentionally find or might find offensive, even though I didn't mean to. I don't think that that's what I'm dealing with, because I'm not I'm not going after a group of people, but anyway, there's definitely something missing. And again, it is really difficult just to get genuine feedback. And the other thing is, well, you can talk to other comics. Sometimes comics are good at feedback. They really have to, I don't know. It has to be somebody that you really, really trust. Because again, usually most comics don't know why something is funny or not funny anyway. And comics usually have a warped sense of humor anyway. So, they're not always going to be able to lead you down the right path anyway. So it really is difficult. I mean, so much of it is write down what you think is funny as a comic. Write down what you think is funny. Go say it in a microphone to a group of people and see if they also think it's funny. And if they don't think it's funny, then you got to go back home and then go, okay, well, that wasn't funny. How can I either change this or just drop it all together and try talking about something else? And I'm almost at the point to where I'm going like, maybe I just need to talk about something else. On about 4 different premises. I have a premise, again, about like how I'm at this age where I seem to be dating a lot of women who are divorced. I don't insult the divorced women. I just talk about how that's the stage of life that I'm in. And that's where I was talking about, like, I wonder if the fact that I'm even talking about divorced women, if the audience goes, oh no, he's going to be degrading or whatever, to women who have been through a divorce, which actually isn't what I'm doing at all. But then again, that's where my mind starts going. I'm going, well, I don't think that I'm doing that. But does the audience think that I'm doing that? And that's what I've been thinking about. And that's why I've been trying to say that in a lot of different ways. And I'm always trying to throw myself under the bus. My whole comedy is, or almost all of my comedy is me, in essence, throwing myself under the bus. But that doesn't mean, but again, that's what I think I'm doing. Is that what the audience is getting? And then there's also the element of sometimes an audience doesn't like it when a comedian's throwing themselves under the bus, because then they feel uncomfortable about laughing at somebody who's just thrown themselves under a bus. Sometimes they don't want to laugh at that if you don't approach it the right way. Now, almost all of my comedy that I've done for the last 10 years is, in essence, throw me into the bus. And I feel like I've found the way to do it where the audience doesn't feel bad for me. They laugh at it. But again, for some reason, this latest premise about that I'm in this age of life where a lot of the women I'm dating happen to be divorced just doesn't seem like they like it. And I'm wondering if there's just no way I can approach that, because I'm talking about, again, women, and I'm a guy, and that's always, you got to be careful with that. And I thought I was being careful with it. And again, it's not like I'm getting booed. It's not like I feel like huge pullback, like, oh, but there's just a little bit of like, oh, that's the joke. Yeah. Like, we're okay with the premise, but yeah, the jokes that you're doing within the premise, and we're just, I mean, I'm getting some laughs. It's the problem is where I'm getting laughs are like a few jokes into the premise, and there isn't really a way for me to get to the jokes that are working without all the stuff that isn't working yet, or at least I haven't figured out a way to. Yet. And again, I've tried 5 or 6. I've been doing this material for about a month. I've tried multiple different ways. I don't know, everybody. That's just where I'm at. It's just a little discouraging, just to be like, okay, because I've written a ton about it, and just to go like, man, do I really just have to give up on this altogether and just go like, okay, I guess the world just does not want to hear about Paul Green and his dating life when his dating life involves women who are pretty much all divorced. And okay, duly noted. So, and by the way, and that's just one of the premises that is kind of struggling. But I guess that's just all part of the game. So beyond me just trying to get stand-up figured out, I've just been doing a lot of thinking, a lot of discussions about what do I have a big next move? And by move, I mean literally. I've been talking a lot with a buddy of mine about moving locations again. I'm trying to wrap my head around that. I've had multiple discussions about that. I've had comedian friends who are just like, man, Atlanta is where it's at. Tennessee is where it's at. Nashville, Austin, New York, back to LA. And so my mind has been kind of all over the place, starting to really anchor down and go, okay, do I need to make another move here? Have I got a little too comfortable being back in my hometown? The old little, like, slightly less than small fish in a slightly less small pond than one of those major markets. And I'm really struggling. I'm really struggling to find the ambition and the faith to up and move again. Because I'll tell you, I mean, it took a lot of energy, a lot of ambition, and a lot of faith when I moved to LA the first time. And when I moved on from that and just said, okay, my dream, I still have my dreams, but they aren't going to happen in LA. They're going to happen back in my hometown with this new relationship that I got involved in. And then once that relationship became apparent to me that wasn't the right relationship for me moving forward, that was, first of all, a huge blow. And I kind of had to start over. And, well, first of all, I just had to get okay again, because I was in such a bad spot emotionally when I got out of that situation. And now I'm good again, and now I'm a little comfortable, and I'm just starting to feel like just a little too comfortable, a little too like, all right, Paul, what are we doing here? What are we really going for? What do you really want? And what are you willing to do to go and get it? Are you Is it the acting side? Is it the stand-up comedy side? Is it production side? Is it the social media side of things? All the while, I'm still trying to hold my craft in all of those art forms, as an actor, as a comedian, as a social media person. I'm still trying to post stuff on social media, trying to find how I could resonate with an online audience to potentially gain an audience there, which can hopefully translate into real life audience members who are buying tickets instead of just viewing my content online for free. So there's just a lot floating around in my psyche and in my emotions and in my heart, and I am also really trying desperately to grasp onto some sort of faith in a higher power to maybe get a little help in that arena, because I feel like whatever this next big move is, something really needs to work out. The whoa, living on a prayer. Take my hand, we'll make it, I swear. Whoa, living on a prayer. I don't know how many more of those prayers I can live on. So yeah, it's just a weird spot that I found myself in, and the whole reason I'm doing this podcast is anybody out there listening who is, it has a dream, and I'll tell you, there's just, it can really weigh on the psychology, especially if it's really big and you have to wake up every day and just look at what appears to be a chasm between the reality you're waking up in and the reality you want to wake up in one day. And it ain't no joke. So I'm in the middle of that, struggling to find my next routine, my next batch of comedy, and struggling to find and feel inspired and to feel enough faith to make potentially another geographical move, if necessary, if that's really where I feel, or what I feel is necessary for me to accomplish the next big step. And, all the while just living the day to day and, keeping them bills paid, making sure I'm taking care of my clients, in the day job and all of that. So lot going on. There's a lot going on here for March 22nd. So I hope all of you are doing much better psychologically than maybe your boy Paul Green is doing today. And by the way, I'm fine. I'm not, there's no crisis going on here. It's just where my mind is at, and I am really trying as best as I can to be transparent with anybody who is listening, so that you can get the most authentic reality of what pursuing a big dream looks like and feels like from somebody who isn't telling the story in retrospect. Well, it was really hard back there in the day, but look at me now. Oh, well, now things are good. So, and by the way, overall things are great. I'm very lucky. I'm very fortunate. So I don't want any of this to sound victim-y or any of this to sound woeist me, because that's not the case at all. I am tremendously fortunate. I'm tremendously blessed. I have been given so many opportunities, so many great mentors, so many close friends and family members who support me and believe in me. And even with all of that, it can be this hard and this frustrating and this discouraging. So, and that's just the reality of it all. So through it all, I am still on this journey. I am not quitting this journey. There is still something in me compelling me and driving me to move forward. And I'm still every day trying to take whatever steps my precious ego can handle and, overcome whatever laziness or weaknesses or lack of discipline that I may have or whatever it is. I'm just trying to just keep moving forward with as much faith, with as much ambition as I can to do my part in bringing my dreams to fruition. I guess that's all I can do. So for anybody out there, if you're in a similar situation, I hear you, I feel you, and let's just keep moving forward together and see what we can shake loose, and hopefully maybe we can have some fun stories and some good news. So, all right, everybody. That is going to be all for me today for March 22nd, 2024, episode 114 of the Paul Green Comedy PaulCast. I love all of you so much. You have my support and my encouragement, and I will talk to you tomorrow.